Brand new acquisition with A.J. Brown in New England. You know what he did yesterday? He dislocated his thumb at Patriots practice, popped it back into place, and remained a full participant in the workout. That's what you're looking for in your new superstar. And he talked afterwards about physical play.
I physically want to impose my will each and every play, and it's not for everybody to understand,
No.
And when I'm out here, I go into a whole nother zone, a whole nother state. It's me versus you. So I like to use the reference of we're in a boxing match because I'm most of the time on this island.
Yep.
There's nobody gonna help you. There's nobody gonna help me. So let's go. And so that's the mindset I gotta have when I'm out here, and honestly. I could care less if I'm misunderstood.
Dopamine highs. Let's go get the dopamine high.
Absolutely.
So, Gerald, we were talking before the show this morning. New team, dislocate, boom, pop that thumb right back in and keep going. What's it like? You've done it in your career. You change teams. You want to show everybody exactly what you're about right the day you arrive.
Well, Greeny, what people have to understand is when a coach goes and gets a player, they want that player. And I have a philosophy. The circus travels. People come and see the circus. The circus goes where it goes, and it's always the circus. So be the circus. Be the show. I have an example of that. I left Tampa, went to Carolina. I showed up right at mandatory minicamp.
Yeah.
So I was only there a couple days. Come back, go through training camp. By the end of training camp, I was a captain because I knew that I can be me wherever I'm at. A.J. Brown understands that they went to get me to be me. And all he's doing is blending in with everything they've been, which is a physical team. Teams take on the identity of the head coach, and that's what Mike Vrabel's all about.
And he knew when he brought A.J. Brown exactly what he was going to get. I think what A.J. Brown brings, when you talk about that physicality, if you go back to the Super Bowl and you're watching the way Seattle's DBs were pressed up on the outside, they beat the hell out of the New England Patriots wide receivers. They didn't have a guy in their room that looks like A.J. Brown, that can dominate on the outside like A.J. Brown. So when you hear him say that, I look at this like a boxing match, and I'm out there, we're both on an island. No one's coming to save either one of us. There aren't a lot of wide receivers in the league that can say that and actually mean what they say. A.J. Brown is one of those guys. He brings a different dimension to this offense, and already early on in training camp, all you've heard about is the connection from Drake May to A.J. Brown, and that's going against Christian Gonzalez, one of the best corners in our league.
That's a great matchup in practice to watch, so worth the price of admission every single day. Jeff, what are you hearing the early returns on A.J. Brown in New England?
Well, kind of talking about the dislocated finger and jumping back in there, all the things that made A.J. Brown somewhat of a headache at times last year in Philadelphia is exactly what makes him a blessing in New England. He is the kind of guy who keeps everybody incredibly accountable. And it's the type of thing that when you're trying to create that culture, as Mike Vrabel is trying to do in New England, that's worth the cost that they paid for A.J. Brown beyond the reception. So they already feel like they're getting a guy who is not just adding value to their offense and freeing everybody else up along the way, but they're also getting a guy who is popping his finger back into place, getting back in the huddle, and then getting 2 touchdowns in that same practice. That is a valuable addition.
That's a really interesting way of putting it. All the things that may have been somewhat problematic for whatever reason in Philadelphia, and I'm sort of letting it run through my head here, are a blessing in New England.
And that's what's so interesting, because I felt like when A.J. first got to Philly, we said those same comments. When he got there, and I remember him scoring 2 touchdowns against Tennessee, and he's doing the belt celebration as he's whooping the DB's butt in the end zone, or pointing to both of the Steelers guys he called a touchdown pass on. The question is that Philly fans are looking at this. They're like, all right, give it a year or two. Then let's see how you feel about those things. The difference to me is Mike Vrabel. He knew the guy. A.J. Brown knows Mike Vrabel, and he knows what the expectations are.
And if you win a Super Bowl, as the Eagles did in that year or two, then it's been worth it either way. Quick final thought on that.
Yeah, for sure. A.J. Brown is a creature of habit and consistency. After they won the Super Bowl, he put out a tweet about his individual matchup. He's about smoke, and he's about his one-on-one. But also, his behavior was like this at the end of his Tennessee run and at the end of his Philly run. So you better get it while you can get it early and get what you can get out of it.
That's it. I mean, they were that close to winning a championship last year. By the way, in New England, just want to show you this quickly. Mike Reese wrote about this, about what it's like being a rookie. He said, one way Patriots rookies pay their dues is to deliver snacks to their position group. For Baron Morton, that has meant ensuring fresh oranges are plentiful in the quarterback room to go with the juicer that Drake May bought last year. Keeping cups stocked is part of the job. We got all these kind of things. J-Mac, you got any stories about this kind of thing? We got purple bag Doritos for the quarterbacks.
I mean, that's easy. Oranges for a juicer? Like, what are we doing in the NFL?
Yeah.
My rookie year, Cortland Finnegan made me buy his body wash and toiletries for the locker room. And then on top of that, that's back when rookie hazing was like, okay.
Yeah.
So the last day of training camp, all the rookies had to go out and buy milk, eggs, birdseed, flour, Gatorade, all type of stuff. We're like, what the hell are we buying this stuff for? They had us go through an obstacle course.
Yeah.
As all the media is there recording it, we're spinning around on the bat as Vince Young is pegging me with eggs, flowers, birdseed. You finish off and you're covered in everything, and you look like an idiot after spinning around on the bat. Welcome to the NFL.
Sounds like a really productive way to spend time there.
We
I
should be
think,
doing that here
in the
at Get
National
Up.
Football.
That's how we should be
Gerald
welcoming
McCoy,
Gerald.
you're the new man on the team. I've got bad news for you. Go get the bird seed. All right, coming up, the biggest questions that the Cowboys' new look defense after your visit to the LA Chargers training camp.
That's exactly what it looked like. It was those guys in the camping gear. So it was a lot of fun. No, look, the Chargers are the offense is going to be completely different. They bring in Mike McDaniel to overhaul the offense. You know, he switches up Justin Herbert's shotgun footwork the first day he gets there, and they're pumped. I mean, talking to Jim Harbaugh before their practice yesterday, he was gushing about, you know, Herbert and how quickly he's picked up the offense. The questions he's asking are like AP questions, like a guy who's been in the offense 2, 3, 4 years. Then I had a chance to talk to McDaniel after practice, and you know, again, very effusive in his praise of Justin Herbert. But what struck me is looking at the roster and the way they went out and got guys to really kind of fit what McDaniel wants to do, which is fundamentally make Justin Herbert's life easier, establish a run game that can be dominant. You know, the center, Tyler Biotish, that Washington cut, the fullback, Alec Ingold, that was with McDaniel in Miami, Charlie Kolar, the blocking tight end. Not the most exciting, you know, big splash free agent signings, but an offense that they really feel is going to put Justin Herbert in a better position than he's been in for a long time.
Okay, stay with me, Dan, because I want to bring J-Mac and G-Mac into the conversation on that thought. Putting Justin Herbert finally in the right position to succeed. Gerald, what goes through your mind?
I'm tired of hearing it. I'm tired of hearing, oh, well, we need to get him the right offensive coordinator, or it was his coach, or the defense failed him, or it's his weapons and all this. There's a difference in being a top 5 talent and top 5 player. Justin Herbert, we keep hearing how talented he is and his potential. It's time. It's time to show us. We need to see it. We talk about Lamar Jackson hasn't gotten over the hump.
Right.
Lamar Jackson is a 2-time MVP. We talk about Josh Allen hasn't gotten over the hump. Josh Allen has won an MVP. Joe Burrow, he's taking his team to the Super Bowl. I'm tired of hearing about the talent. Can you please show us? That's all I'm asking. Can we see it?
I think it is a reasonable position that is probably held by a lot more people than are willing to say it. Because I think people sometimes, J-Mac, I think sometimes you're afraid to say what he just said because the one year that it does click in, all of a sudden you know the receipts are coming out. Because maybe it does. But Herbert is so freakishly talented that you were afraid he becomes Josh Allen, and you were the one who said he couldn't.
And we've seen the glimpses. But you also have seen 2 playoff games where they've fallen short. One where they were up about 4 touchdowns and lost down in Jacksonville. The Justin Herbert conversation, I'm with you. Like, it's time to show us more. But you go back to last year when he was playing really well, literally the 5 guys in front of him on the offensive line just all got hurt. And they were just rotating guys. They literally were picking guys off the street who hadn't played football in years. It's like, hey, you're going to start at right tackle for us today. Hey, this is Justin Herbert. Nice to meet you. Go out there and block for him. So I'm okay with that excuse. You cannot play quarterback without the guys in front of you. I think this year is a special case in the sense of what we saw what Mike McDaniel did with Tua Tagovailoa, the guy that Herbert is often compared to because of draft status. I think what he can do in this offense and getting the running game, it's a different dimension than what we've seen for Justin Herbert. So I'm going to add to the excuses for him just to extend it another season longer.
Jeff Darlington, like, I see the phrase a prove-it season. I mean, he's their guy. He's going to be their guy for a long time, and he should be. But I think I sort of agree with Gerald. It's time to take the step from he's on the verge of becoming. It's time to become. It is time for him to do that right now, or I think there are legitimate questions.
I mean, it is interesting because I'm a little bit Team Gerald on this from the standpoint that you look at Joe Burrow in Cincinnati, and it's not as if that team, I mean, they did have some early success, but lately it's not like that team has had all that much success, but we still obviously look at Joe Burrow and say, that's your guy. The problem is over there. Joe Burrow is just fine. And I think that we still kind of have that weird lingering wonder about Justin Herbert. Again, I think that Gerald phrased it perfectly. Being a top 5 player doesn't mean that you're a top 5 talent or vice versa. I think that that's an important way to look at this. We know in Cincinnati who Joe Burrow is. We need to know more about who Justin Herbert is.
All right, let me go back to Graziano because your camp tour continues today. You're going to see the Dallas Cowboys. What will you be looking for specifically?
Really anything on the defensive side of the ball, because that's where the improvement has to come for Dallas. We know their offense and what it's going to look like. Pretty much everybody's back, and if everyone's healthy, they'll score a ton of points. But what kind of defensive coordinator is Christian Parker going to be in his first shot at this? What kind of practice does he run? What are they asking of Caleb Downs, the first-round rookie safety that they plan to use in a number of different ways? I'm curious to see what his practice looks like, where he's lining up, where he's helping on this particular day, because I think he's going to be a really critical piece for them on the defensive side of the ball right away in terms of how much responsibility they plan to give him.
So the defense obviously is the key in Dallas. And I've always said if you want to be good at something, you've got to be great in at least one area. And what was it you were telling me this morning you think where they are genuinely great already on that Dallas defense?
Yeah, I believe the Dallas Cowboys have the best D-tackle tandem in all of football in Kenny Clark and Quentin Williams. And when you have guys in the middle who can control everything, it makes it easier on everybody around you, especially a guy like Caleb Downs. Because what are we seeing in the NFL right now? We're seeing these hybrid safeties that can come in the box, but then they can cover as well. And that's what Caleb Downs has added. But he also, these D tackles make it easier for the guys on the edges.
I want to see a different mentality from this Cowboys defense. Last year, when you're at the bottom of every stat in the league, I want to see them blowing people up out there. Linebackers coming downhill. You mentioned Caleb Downs. This is DeMarvion Overshawn in practice, running downhill and just blowing up the fullback. That's what I want to see. There has to be a different mentality from the defense in Dallas this year. The hell with the new system and all of that. Yes, you're going to have to learn those things. But the guys on defense have to say, you know what? We're sick and tired of being sick and tired and do something about it.
When they got Overshawn back last year, they looked like a different team. He's so good. Jeff, finish it up for us.
Listen, I was in Dallas for the draft, and I'll forever be stuck with this conversation that I had with somebody there. As they were drafting Caleb Downs, they were under the impression, based on their conversations and evaluations, that if you were to take one guy from the first round of that draft and say, he'll be a Hall of Famer at the end of his career, they felt like Caleb Downs was that player. If he can live up to any of that as a rookie, that's a scary thought.
All right, Graziano will go take a look at him and much more today. We'll check in with you tomorrow. Congratulations on another win.